Handoyo.
Your product actually is probably less than 10% of what you think it is. If you want to just do it. You know?
Yeah.
And you'll never feel ready.
Yeah.
You'll never feel. I mean, not my intention, but I like to make people happy. I think like you have to stay positive.
That's
in
awesome.
This type of like nature.
Welcome to the Inspiring Founders Podcast. This is a podcast that I do with founders who I know or meet who are inspiring. They're inspiring to me. They're inspiring to their community. They're doing amazing things. And you're one of those founders. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to have just a nice, candid conversation. I want to talk about you and your startup and your journey and kind of like how you got where you are. Maybe we'll touch a little bit about this, where you're at here, this plug and play workspace. It's really cool. And then maybe dive into some of the little secrets that you've learned along the way that you could share with other founders that can help them so that, you know, we can all benefit from your learnings. So
good.
Why don't we start off first, just introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, tell us about your company, Lyrid, you know, and kind of what you do, and then we'll jump in with some questions.
All right. Thanks, Smash.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me. This is actually really cool. And thank you for all the work that you do for this podcast and showing people about like startups and all those things. And yeah.
It's easy, man. It's easy because I get to hang out with cool people like you. Honestly, it makes it easy.
And my name is Handoyo, and I'm a CEO and founder of Lyrid. Lyrid itself is a cloud infrastructure platform. So you can think of as like we're aggregating cloud resources basically from many different local data centers, from many different places, including hyperscalers, connecting them into our platform. And you can, I mean, like I like to say to people that is like if you want to go through like think about it like Airbnb for data centers, like Airbnb for data centers. So basically, data centers is a real estate.
Okay.
Think of it like that.
Okay.
Real estate, they contains resources, compute, storage, networks, and all those things. Real estate that is living somewhere.
Okay.
Around the world, you know. And every single region have the data centers.
Okay.
And we put those resources into our platform and we sell it directly within our platform into the end users, which is so most of them are startups. We have small medium enterprises, and we have like companies that we help and do scale their services using our platform.
Oh, so before Lyrid existed, if I was a startup or a small business or whatever, and I wanted to build software that was going to live on in the cloud, I would have to go out myself and try and find places. Why wouldn't I just go to AWS? Like why? Like
that's usually how people go.
Okay.
You know, people usually go to AWS and people go to the kind of like
GCP, or whatever.
GCP, Azure, and all those kind of like
Yeah.
what we call the hyperscalers.
Oh, okay.
And that's usually the easy route, you know, and it is actually okay, you know, and we do work with that too. At the end of the day, we help our the end users when they start to build their kind of like app solutions or whatever, you know. They usually need to put it somewhere out there in a cloud, they call it, right? Yeah. And those are the example of a cloud. But if you know like this business, cloud itself is actually just a set of infrastructures.
Exactly.
Servers.
Exactly.
Software.
Yeah. Like the Airbnb example, I could go just get a hotel. Like everyone knows the hotels. You go to Marriott, you get a hotel. But what Airbnb did is they said, that's not your only option anymore, right? There are all kinds of things and they'll give you all kinds of different experiences. You decide what you want.
Yes.
Is that the same model?
Yes, yeah, same models.
Okay.
What I learned is that there's actually a lot of other data centers out there.
Okay.
I mean, this is part of my things in the past that I learned, like the insight that I have from this business. Because
Let me pause you for a second there because I need to, because I want to go a little bit slow. First of all, I work with a lot of founders who are for the first time experiencing the power of building apps.
Right.
Like just because of Claude Code, because of Codex, because you know, like they're for the first time experiencing like, wow, I can build amazing stuff. The second step they always come to me and say is where do I put this, Mash? How do I do this? Which is exactly what you're talking about, right? They say, I built it. Where does it go? It could be as simple as like a small business person using Claude Code to make a website. They're like, look, I made my own website. I'm ready to go. What do I do with it? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the initial problem that triggers somebody to look for Lyrid or look for a solution
Look for a solution like us.
Okay.
And most, the one of the ways is going through the hyperscalers, correct? But we do provide different kind of like experience than these guys. First of all, we work with local data centers so that if you want to get your data more local, to serve more kind of like local ecosystems and things like that, we work with that too. And we partner a lot with local providers.
Okay.
Well, we this is what we kind of like what we worked on the most because we want to be able to support these ecosystem of these providers. Not so much on like hyperscalers.
Is there any value additional to supporting local?
Yeah.
Is it like a privacy
no,
issue? Is it a
is
regional?
privacy.
Is there a scoping? Is there like what are some of the reasons why you would want to have that versus the global footprint of an AWS?
Cost is a big one, by the way. Cost is
really?
a big one. A lot of these, if you kind of know about the business on how these hyperscalers and what is their business models, and why they give a lot of these credits is that they want to lock you in, and they want to give put as much resource as possible into that thing, but for us, it's not like at the end of the day, for us, we give the best pricing up front as fast as possible because the ecosystem itself supports it.
Okay.
So basically saying like, I can give you a price that is 40% less than 40 or 50, almost 50. Sometimes it goes to about a 60% less on like whatever these, the big vendors are charging.
Yeah.
That's because the costs of the kind of like the machine, the infrastructures, and the network, and the kind of like what we call the egress, the cost structure is different in these local data centers. And these local data centers, they don't have egress fees, they don't have they don't have a lot of things that usually the big guys are charging. And we always build a thing that is more cost predictable for our end users.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we try to help them upfront. We're not trying to say like, hey, I can give you like $10,000 credit for free, but I'm just saying like, I can give you the lowest price that you can sustain this thing forever, I think my goal is always like that, to be able to kind of like support founders so that they are able to sustain this for as long as they can and stretch it out as long as they can.
They don't get that cliff where all my free credits ran out and now I have to raise money because I'm spending too much. Whatever.
I would much rather like charge little by little.
Just let me know what my
until you can get to a point where you can make enough profit. Right?
Okay, so there is probably a minimum size to be able to benefit from your solution, it seems like, because most, like up until a certain amount, it like you can almost put it anywhere and it's almost negligible. So what is sort of the switching size?
My sweet spot is always about 1,000 something. If you already spend about $1,000, you already can see about the
seeing some
the
savings.
benefits and what we do.
Okay.
And that's usually my go-to starting point for like when I look for a client or customers or what. But it doesn't have to be that though. I can start as small as I want or as big as I want to.
Do you have I know I'm spending so much time on that, so we can move on. But do you have options for these founders? A lot of founders are still doing customer discovery and they're throwing MVPs up and testing them out, and they don't.
Look, we have free tiers.
Okay, you have
free tiers.
Just like so what's a free tier look like?
Free tiers is running 3 containers, which is 3 different kind of like backend, front end.
So like a web, a worker, and a job. Okay.
I found out like most of the basic people run 3 things.
Exactly. I run 3.
I think you know what that is, front end, back end workers, that's usually the basic.
Yep.
And we do have like some free tiers on a database as well.
Yeah.
And I think the free tiers part, we can anybody can utilize that and start to build like something simple with that. And then above that is the pro, what we call the pro, which is $50 a month.
Yep.
It gives you more, so you can create many different environments. And then after that, you start to get your own infrastructure, which is usually start about $200. $200. So even at the smallest clusters, it's not that much, you know. And you can start growing your clusters. Further and further.
Okay, I have to ask because one of the solutions that I use, because it's so dead simple, and they did it right from the beginning. They were acquired by Salesforce, so I don't know how long that's going to happen. But is Heroku? Have you heard of Heroku?
Of course I have.
So how does your solution compare to Heroku? Because it's sort of
that's a good question. If you ask me, my solution is almost as simple as that. I would say like just similar. If you use Heroku before, you probably know how to use our platform. The difference is that your deployment of where you're deploying this data, you can control.
Heroku just puts everything on AWS. Like
I don't know where they put it.
Well, whatever.
They don't tell you,
but it's basically
exactly. They don't tell you where to put it, and you always want to say like, hey, if I have like a Heroku kind of like, I don't know what they call it, what they could call the containers, I forgot. But if you have like a workload in Heroku's, and then you want to run that in your own data centers, I think you're gonna need to rewrite some stuff.
You have to leave. And Heroku is really great up to a certain point, and then the costs start going up so fast that. But like you said, you're locked in. You're like everything is there. It all works, so it's hard to leave. So I love that. So I might even be like a test customer.
Let's do it. If you have anything, throw it at me.
Well, my company, you know about my company.
Yes.
I know I'm not going to do it for your company, but we have back end, front end workers,
right?
And then we even have workers that are dedicated just to AI stuff, and workers that are just running jobs and stuff. So it sounds like it would be perfect setup.
I'm actually working on a couple of new kind of like projects that is gonna be a bit more AI deployment driven, I guess. I'm working on kind of like a couple of like tests, kind of like into ecosystem where you can actually deploy these a lot more easier, even with AI, even with AI and with Cloud Codes and all those things, connecting it with Cloud Code automatically and being able to deploy using using the Cloud Codes and stuff like that. So I think those are things that I'm welcoming you to. If you want to do it together, and anybody want to do it together, let me know.
I'll be a pilot. You can test everything on me. Can I run stuff in parallel so that I can test you out without
Sure.
I guess we could do something like that. It'd be fun. Okay, but let's get back to being a founder, because your startup is awesome, and it's oftentimes when I do talk with founders who are still working on their startups, because a lot of founders they'll start and they'll realize it was a bad idea, and then they'll go away. And a lot of times we'll talk about this thing called customer discovery, where we're like, you didn't actually talk to customers long enough to really understand if your startup was worth investing in or not. How did you get from this awareness that there was a potential company here to where you're at now, where you're actually, I think you're funded, right?
Yes,
or at least
we're
a little.
$1.6 million.
Okay, so you raised money. You have a working company. You have customers. You have revenues. Like that's a huge step.
Yeah, and I mean that's a long way step, by the way. It's not like a one day thing. Okay, it's a multi-year step. So.
Well, tell us about it, because I want to set the expectations, because a lot of startups are like, oh, no, 3 weeks, I'm going to raise $5 million, and then I'm going to, get $1 billion.
I've heard that before. Yeah. Look, I think, I guess if you want to ask me, I think there's a couple of given I sound really old now, like sage advice and stuff like that, and look, I've seen companies that when they started, they kind of started because the founder just feel like it, I guess, and those are usually the worst, I think you know what I mean. But I think usually the good ones are the ones that can get the problem from their own experience and notice some kind of gaps that they can fill.
Yeah.
I think those are usually the best founders, in my opinion. At least.
But how do you get? Because I do get those.
That's yeah. It doesn't take for the things that I do. It doesn't take. It's a multi-year thing. It is came out from my own experience out of working from another startup.
Okay.
And working in the data centers, looking at the racks and racks of machines, every single day.
Yeah.
And looking at these kind of like knowing when I started this, I was still working as kind of like a solution engineer for an infrastructure company. Infrastructure meaning like I build servers basically, but they build their own products. They build their own servers. So I help build data centers, put the stack together, compute network.
Wow. So you totally understand what.
And back then it was still. It was still pretty early for AWS even.
Yeah.
Even AWS only have S3, I think you remember that.
So you're talking about like, I think it was called rack space.
Yeah.
Like that time when it was like you literally rented a actual server on a rack in someone's. Okay.
Yeah, and when I first, that's when I first in the business, FYI. And then I see this growth of like the cloud and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And I feel like, hey, wow, this growth is pretty big, massive. But I haven't started the company. At that time, I knew about the industry, but I haven't started the company. In the sense that after a while working with that company, I kind of already see these gaps of there's actually a lot of infrastructures out there, basically saying like, I seen like it's not. So I'm always wondering like why people go to AWS or Google or one of those guys all the time.
It's like going to McDonald's.
Yeah, it's like default. For these guys,
default. Like
but if you know like how McDonald's being made, you want to do it yourself. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
You want to do it yourself. You want to like, hey, I think I can do one better.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing, though. But there's the simplicity of whatever they're giving out is actually a good. What do you call it?
It's good enough.
It's good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's actually what these guys are missing, which is the cloud operators, which is the data center operators are missing. So for them to be able to give these resources,
how did they even survive? I mean, honestly, when AWS exploded, and then Azure and Google and all these things, the little guys.
They survive. No, they don't fold. They survive because there's still needs for those. Because a lot of these industries still are in. There's a lot of industry that still need those type of infrastructures.
Okay.
Like healthcare's, fintech, and all those guys.
Got it.
But they don't get the startups though.
I see.
Does that make sense? Right.
Yeah.
So they these ones very rarely get the startup. But nowadays, because of AI, they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It becomes a totally different ballgame now.
Yeah.
But I think back then it's like that,
Wow.
So they don't get startups. And I was kind of like seeing like, hey, I think there's something here. There's a gap, and identifying that gap is not something that a lot of people can understand.
I totally derailed you. So part of your journey was you were an expert in the industry. You started to identify like, wow, there's a lot of
machines,
space between what people need and how they get it. And so then at what point were you like, I'm ready? Like I'm sure you were making a ton of money, so you didn't really do this to make money. What did you? When did you say?
This is the part that I tell people like kind of like people usually ask me this. When do you feel like you're ready? Even now, I don't feel like I'm ready. It is one of those things like, look, if you want to just do it. And you'll never feel ready.
Yeah.
You'll never feel enough. You'll never feel good enough. You'll never feel like this is.
What's an example of that? Tell me a story where you're like, I can't go and talk to this customer. They're too big. I've never ever talked to, or like something where you're like, I've never done this before. And then somewhere inside you, you're like, I have to go do it.
I don't have anything in my head at the moment for that kind of example.
Yeah.
But look, when I first do it, it's not a day decision for me. Of course, it's not like one day, like that part of the gap, identifying the gaps, is actually 2 to 3 years before I started the company, and I did kind of like
sat on it.
Yes, exactly.
Sat on it. Okay.
It's not like something that I did like, and I'll do it next month, I'll do it next week, it's actually a couple of years before I do that, and it's not something that I kind of like see that, how do I say it? I do feel like I've thought about it, okay, for a while, and I actually know that I'm gonna do it, and I'm not kind of like preparing my war chest, I guess they call it, like preparing my ammunitions, war chest, and making sure that have like the right kind of like
give yourself the best chance of succeeding you can,
exactly. As much as I can. So that's what I did, back then, and before I started this company, it was 2019 by the way.
2019, okay.
2019. And you know what happens in 2020, right?
Yeah. Everyone went to remote work, right? That's what you're talking about. No.
Yeah, I think you can prepare as much as you want.
You can't prepare for that.
Things are just, the world is going to throw other shit at you,
Oh my God, I totally understand. I relate. Honestly, that's so cool. So let's fast forward then. So how did you get to the place that most founders like want to get to so badly but will never get to, and that is getting someone to believe in them enough that they fund them, or maybe not even believe in them enough? Like, how did you get to the place where you were able to get funding? Was it easy once you had your company fleshed out, or like what? How did that journey happen?
Okay, again, I started the company in 2019.
Yeah,
but I didn't actually fundraise until 2023.
Okay.
I mean,
so
one of the reasons
4 years building the company by yourself.
It's not by myself. There's a couple of people that I'm helping me with this. Yeah. But within this 2020 and 2022, early 2023 by the way, early 2023. Okay. So it's technically like
about 3 years.
2 years, because the end of 2019 until the beginning, the end of 2023. So, I mean, during COVID, I didn't really kind of like, look, there's nothing here. We just started. There's nothing here. We just go back to the drawing board and just not
bad timing.
There's nothing much I can do about it. Nothing much I can do about it, and other than get us ready when the things are starting to open back up. Let's pitch. Let's pitch. Get it to a position where we can put this idea, refine it, so that we can pitch it to investors. And we were like looking at like different kind of like different things and how to go about this and stuff like that. And we decided that we gonna go join an accelerator.
Okay.
An accelerator.
Yeah.
We joined Expert Dojo in LA, by the way.
What was it?
Expert Dojo.
Expert Dojo.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a lot of accelerators.
There's a lot of them.
This accelerator was this application only, and they review and accept you, or did you have to pay to be in the accelerator?
It is not paid once, but it's not like that. So basically, they do invest in you. They put money on you. They put 50,000.
Okay.
And you do have to give them something for their kind of like what do you call it, programs.
Yep.
Their program is about 2 months, I think. And there's a demo day after that 2 months, and they purpose to become investor ready.
At demo day? Did you give your demo and somebody said, "Here's a check"?
Not like that. No, but we second 3 meetings after the demo day, you know. But it's not exactly like, "Hey, I like your check," and then like
that's
Shark Tank moment, No, that Shark Tank moment rarely happens. Man.
Yeah,
rarely happens. Very rarely happens, But we did, we meet like I think 2 or 3 times after the demo day.
Yeah.
And then we got our first VC check for that, and then we got our first investors, a few investors, a few angels, few what do you call it, and I mean, what does it mean from that to? Well, I think like it is hard to explain for me. It is kind of like make sure that you know what you're kind of like presenting yourself with to the investors, basically to the investors.
What about now that you do know all of these things, now that you have been invested in, now other people own parts of your company, you have responsibilities to all these people. Like, how has that changed your feeling about being in a startup?
Oh no, it doesn't change that much. I still love it. I still in it. I'm still, if anything, I feel as a bigger sense of responsibility that once you start to kind of like handling other people's investment or money, you want to try to see that this thing actually goes through. You want to try to make as much things work as possible.
Yeah.
The pressure, basically. I would say like, well, it's gonna just get higher and higher once you get more and more invested.
Yeah.
And that's actually your pressure test,
Yeah.
That's pretty much your pressure test,
One of the things I've heard, and I experienced it myself when we raised money for my first company, and we went through this too. But tell me if this is true for you. Once you start raising, you never stop. It's like your job now.
Yes. I would say to aspiring founders, it's true. There's ways maybe that you can not do that. Depends on who you raised with, because this might be like if you're talking about angels and other people that might be a bit closer to you, it might be easier to not do that. Okay. But make sure you have certain goals, certain targets, certain milestones, certain things that you want to reach first before you can get that. And I would say like it is very much true. We are in the second fundraising.
Really? Really?
We are in the
Already?
middle. So look, we are in the middle of second. Part of that second fundraising is already signed.
Wow.
And we're still looking for more, and I'm sure that even if we close this one, I'm gonna already start drafting the next fundraising for my Series A.
Okay. Let's not scare them away. What can you tell them? What can you tell us that is inspiring about like no, stay the course. It is worth it. You're gonna want to give up. Like, tell me about. Are there any stories you have where you were like, this is not going to work. We should give this money back.
I mean, the thought of that sometimes does appear in the head. I think, look, I think it's not going to be rosy and it's not going to be like sunshine all the time. And I would say to people that if they think like this is TechCrunch all day, all night, the people just signing checks left and right,
Yeah.
It's not like that, man.
Yeah.
Not like that, dude.
But what is it like? What is it like?
It's okay. For me, I think like at the end, day-to-day thing, I feel like at the end, how do I say this? I wake up, I solve problems, I help people, and I feel accomplished. I think that's why I do this most of the days. And I do have I felt that kind of impact, never in that other kind of like, what do you call that, in other industry while working for somebody else, that I feel like even the little things that I do make a lot of changes in somebody else's life.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the one that you cannot put a price on.
Yeah.
Regardless on like what do you call it, what people say and stuff. And that's why I feel like a lot of founders does this. Yeah. The good ones at least.
And this is probably because you're so close to the customer, right? Like I mean, as a startup, you're still the founder. You're selling to your customers. You don't have a sales team,
founder-led growth, they call it.
Yeah. And so you're spending a lot of time with customers, and they're telling you like, "This used to suck, and you saved me," and like stuff like that, right?
I have a story that one of the customers that we help, they told me straight in my face that if we don't exist, they already fold.
Really?
Yes.
What, were they spending too much money? They were like, we were going to burn through all of our cash. You saved us. Really?
They're in the middle of like almost dead, basically.
Wow.
And then they just started like, yeah, dude, without you guys, we're already full and we're already in the green right now.
No way.
And
so
look,
cool.
I help a lot with emerging markets, by the way.
Okay.
I think one of the things that I kind of like passionate about is like helping people over there, because I think
Oh my God! No, wait! You got to explain this. I'm so ethnocentric right now. I thought all we're talking about is Silicon Valley, right? Because I'm just so focused on where we're at, what we're doing. But explain what you're talking about. Like, how does your business actually help people in, an emerging market halfway across the world? Like, like Nigeria is exploding. There's young people. There's I don't know what are you talking about?
So as part of Lyrid, we actually built the company after our first fundraising, by the way. We actually started to build the company in Indonesia.
Oh.
As well as, the US is, of course, going to be there. And we also have an entity in Indonesia. And with the second fundraise, I started another one in Kenya. Okay. Those are the two emerging markets first that I started.
And so each independently...
Yes. The way we work is that every single country that we have entity in is an independent working kind of like, what do you call it? Independent working
division of your Lyrid or something, right?
It's an independent working. It is still, we own those entities. We own the Lyrid USA, own those entities.
Yeah.
But they work as their own startup. I call it.
Really?
I want to build it like that so that they have their own authorities on who to hire, who to keep. I don't have any.
Yeah. So they can capture the local. The experience curve of being in that local environment. It's not dependent on Handoyo, what do we do? You're like, dude, you're there, figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And I want them to kind of have that kind of authority, and I want them to kind of like run on their own, basically. In Indonesia, and as well as in Kenya, they look for their own local data center partners. They have their own kind of like ecosystem, and they have their own kind of like customer set and stuff like that.
Wow.
And they have their own what do you call it, operations. Claude Code, the hard part over in emerging market, I want to go back to that, is that a lot of these guys doesn't have the same amount of buying power as the US. Okay. I think the SaaS subscription that cost us $50 over here, nobody thinks twice, nobody thinks twice to sign it, basically. $50, whatever, they'll sign it and then they just like put in the credit cards, move on. Like over there, they'll think like
that's a lot. Yeah.
They'll think for a week for $50.
Yeah, when $300 a year is what you make, $50 is a lot
exactly.
or something, right?
So a lot of these unit economics becomes very skewed over there.
Yeah.
Because the price of infrastructures, what I call servers, AWS, Google, or whatever, in some cases in the emerging market is actually more.
Wow.
So the same amount of resource that is required to run same numbers of users, costing them more over there, and they need to serve more customers to make their money back.
Wow.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the unit economics never make sense. They never. You can never get that kind of.
How did you figure that out? Did you go there and walk around and ask people? Why did
I think I've been in a business that I learned about the why is things working versus what's not. And I've been blessed that I've been in a valley that I know how things work, and I know how these things get built and stuff like that. I just started learning about this. How do they pay for it in the back, and stuff like that. And at the end, giving them these options that they can save them, make them better margins, make them a better company, make them a better company, which is, I feel like that's I cannot buy that. And when they say it to me, that I want that feeling all over again, every time. Every time.
It reminds me of something that I tell early, brand new founders. I say, don't look, don't find technology that you're really excited about and try and build it. I said, find a customer that you can fall in love with, somebody you care enough about that you want to help them, really truly help them for 10 years. If you can find that customer, then you can start to put your energy into how you can help them. But it sounds like that for you. You're very mission driven. You're very driven by this feeling of justice, kind of maybe whatever, within your knowledge, you were able to figure out there's a huge opportunity in here to create solutions that are a lot more affordable for the people who I care about, which like you said, it's in emerging markets and everything.
Yeah, I think knowing these kind of like why you do this, and making sure that you stay true to your kind of like why you do this is what makes you not go insane. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. That in all this, I think like that's the one that you want to try to. If you feel like you have like that kind of moment and that you're winning of like on how you wanna. This is why I do this. Moment. This is why I do this moment. You want to savor that and you want to replicate that. You want to try to make that 10 times. You want to try to do that more and more. And that's why I feel like, look, I think it's easy for kind of like saying like, hey, you want to do a startup because you want to make money. It's a very short term thinking, and I don't think you're not gonna last too long, but it's okay if you want to make money. It's okay, dude. I think
money makes you feel good, but customers who tell you that you saved their life or whatever, like that feels really good. So how do you stay focused on that? Like, what happens when Amazon says, hey, you know what, we want to buy you guys?
When that day happens, I'll let you know. Okay? I don't know. I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting acquisitions, M&As, and all those things. I think some companies are focused on that. Or they want to get acquired and stuff. I don't. It doesn't cross my mind at this moment, at least. But of course, like if somebody wants to M&A us, show me the term sheet.
Of course. I mean, you have investors; they'll be happy,
I'm not gonna look, I'll look at every term sheet, of course. I'm not gonna say no to anything. I'm just saying, I think like it doesn't cross my mind at the moment. And if it does happen, then I'll think about it.
How do you balance that vision and passion and mission with your responsibility to shareholders? Now people own part of your company. They want you to do certain things. Have you felt any tension there yet where you're like, you know what, I really want to open another, location. I want to keep you in going to these emerging markets. And they're saying, look, why don't you just make a whole bunch of money here right now? Like, is there any tension like that?
They do. I felt that sometimes, and I felt, not through investors and through other kind of like, outside investors or outside opinions and things like that, But some of the investors do say that. And the way I see it is that it is still your company and it is still your steward. You're the steward of the company. And there's nothing wrong with don't think of them kind of like giving you, what do you call it? They see it as kind of like, they want you to succeed as well. Because there's more money in certain places. I agree. Which is why we're also still in the US, by the way. That's why we're also still serving the US. We're also still kind of like looking for customers in the US. I help a lot of like building like AI solutions and things like that in the US, which does makes more kind of like margins, and I feel like there's always a balancing act between like what you're saying, basically between investors and your mission.
Well, let's because we're in Silicon Valley, because AI is such a big deal. How not just so there's two ways people use AI, right? There's in your business, you build it into your product and your service, but there's also how you use AI to run your business. And a lot of people are getting tremendous advantages from using AI in how they run the business. Can you describe or do you use AI in ways that help you operationally, that are, an order of magnitude better than what you used to do? Or is all of your AI in the product and the service itself, and you guys just operate your company like a regular company?
No, we do both. We serve AI solutions, and we use AI also internally. I told every one of my engineers, every one of my kind of like guys, I don't call it token maxing. I think we call it token maxing and stuff. But look, just use every tools in your disposal as much as possible. And if it's available to you and you're making you like kind of like become faster, use it. Don't worry about it. I think like at the end of the day, it's not about like what do you call it, cutting people job or whatever. It's more about like producing more. And helping our customer better. For us, we do have some kind of like integrating more and more AI in the products that for kind of like predictable downtime and things like that, predictability, for being able to deploy things with kind of like, your chatbots, deploy this WordPress, deploy what, and do all those kind of like fancy stuff with like LLMs and things. We do want to, for our purpose of AI, what I want to kind of like build is a more kind of like contained AI and more sovereign AI. So basically, everything that we build needs to be able to host it ourselves, and we able to kind of like package it ourselves basically. And anything that we use, anything that we kind of like related to AI, we are able to do that. I think that's my philosophy on it.
Yeah.
It's more about like that, not about like
It's same as not being attached to AWS. Like
Yes,
once you're so
exactly.
attached you can't leave, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Same idea, right?
Yeah, more my philosophy on AI is more like that. I don't have anything against like the like people using it or what, If anything, you should use more. But I don't have more machines though. If anybody want to give me more machine, go for it. Go for it.
I know. The thing about using more AI that I don't think people understand, at least people who are still figuring it out, is that it's not just a step change. It's not just like 1 times better, 2 times better. It's like once you start to understand, like once you start to be able to integrate AI into some of your processes, you can get 100 times better.
Yes.
At least for me, in my experience. I don't know, have you been able to?
I do. I felt like I can. Actually, I felt like I do a lot more.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't measure it though. Maybe I don't know how many X is that.
Yeah.
But I felt like I answer a lot more emails. I do a lot more kind of like
Able to do a lot more.
and I still go back to like I can go back to like architecting stuff,
Yeah.
Which this is the part of the job that I love, by the way, like doing the software development, architecting, and all those things,
Yeah.
Which is the kind of like. In previous times, it's hard for me to find time to do all that.
Yeah. They're like, you designed it, now go build it. And you're like, oh, man, yeah.
But now you can just build it in a day, it's done. I think it is changing the way like how a lot of people work. I understand. And I think it is progress. For me, I think especially at the end of the day, we live in this kind of like Silicon Valleys and stuff. It is progress.
Yeah.
But my goal is just to make sure that this progress actually is available.
Yeah.
More
for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. For kind of like more spread out, basically.
Yeah.
Spread out more access to these things, more what.
So important. I think if anything I got out of this interview, it's that actually more than anything else is not just being mission driven. Like we all know that you should be mission driven, but finding a customer that you care enough about that you actually want to, like succeed in that mission over and over and over again, no matter how hard it is. I can't imagine how hard it is for you to figure out how to put these things all over the world, right? But it's like like you said earlier, you said you figure it out.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
but yes, I haven't fully figured out too. At the end of the day, it's still work in progress. As I mentioned, like I think like we're still fundraising, we're still figuring out like the next step and things like that. There's end goal, I guess they call it end goal, but I don't see it as an end goal. It's more like future.
Another milestone.
Milestones. But I think that is like way out there. There's places that I want this company to be, basically, and I want to see it through.
What would you say? Because we talked about all the good stuff. What would you say some of the biggest challenges have been for you?
Well, there's a lot of different challenges for this kind of like running the company. There's always like finding talents, people.
You still hire people? It's not just all AI?
You still need people to run the AI. People to run the AI. And again, I think like challenges like finding the right partners, like finding the right things to do next, and finding the investing. What should you invest your kind of like time on, and what kind of project that you should be working on. It is not part of the balancing act.
Yeah,
it's part of those balancing acts.
One of the things that early founders always have challenges with is actually getting out of the office and talking to people. And you just said like, well, you got to go find partners, you got to find customers, you got to find, and it sounds like you're talking to people all the time.
Oh, that's one of the things that I felt like for aspiring founders, is like your product actually is probably less than 10% of what you think it is. So basically saying like, this is my belief at least, I don't know if you agree with that. I feel like you agree with it. But I think like, it's not so much of the product itself, it's more about the whole kind of like ecosystem, the whole thing, So there's different things that you need to take care of whenever you want to start a company. Well, this is my, I think I wrote something about this back then. It's like, so whenever you start a company, there's actually 3 things that you need to care about.
Okay.
Sales, marketing, product,
Yeah.
Sales, marketing, product. But especially people that comes from an engineering background, they only see product first. And they neglect the other two. Which is like, okay, you have something, but it's not a company without the other two.
Yeah.
And I think spending time on things that you don't have like strong things about is actually one of the things that makes you a holistic founder. So in a sense that I would suggest that if you come from an engineering background, do
sales and marketing.
Do more sales and marketing. Your engineering background is still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
But they're terrified. They're terrified.
And that's what they need to get, get the hump. Get rid of that hump, basically. Jump over that hump,
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot more terrifying things later, okay? So many more terrifying things that you're going to need to do later.
That's so funny.
But just go over that hump, dude. Just talk to, get out, go talk to people, go talk to your sales, go talk to your business majors or whatever,
Did you have that? Did you have that hump? Did you have to get over it for you as an engineer? Or were you like, no, I spent enough time in, business that when it came time, I just started talking to people?
I think I kind of realized that part.
Are you currently the sales, marketing, and you're like everything?
Technically, yes. For the US, yes.
Okay.
For the Indonesia and Kenya.
Yeah, you had your 3 things. Mine. There's actually 4, and I just call them team, technology, target, and I used to call it torque. I call it traction.
Right.
But team, technology, target, and traction are basically who's on your team and why are they on your team. Right? Technology, obviously, what's your product and why is it something defensible. Target is your market, and everything everything from how do you niche to how big is your market and all that stuff. So team, technology, target, and torque was leverage. How do you take and how do you
look? I think we're talking about the same thing, but I'm looking at it at the different kind of I'm looking at the pillar. But you're looking at the inside of the pillar.
Yeah, these were more principle driven. These are principles. Those what you talk about are like business fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Yeah, the pillars. At least
the hardest thing about those 3 is if you took a person from each of those and you put all 3 of them in a room, it would be a bloodbath. They hate each other.
They think they're all that important, right?
Yeah, they all are like, no. Sales
first.
You marketers and you product guys, get out. Yeah,
exactly.
They will fight to the death.
Exactly. But I think, again, balancing act. I think, a good company balances the whole 3, and they need to grow at the same time. They cannot play favors on one thing or the other, you know. And I do realize that, you need to make sales, dude. A lot of people think this product is the whole thing. They don't make sales and stuff, you have to sell it somehow. You have to figure out what is that cost and things like that. And then you need to market it. People need to know about it,
Even Dropbox had to do sales eventually. They were the perfect, product-led growth. But even they had to eventually do sales.
At the end of the day, a sustainable company is a company that can, as I mentioned, sustain itself, right?
Yeah.
And how do you sustain itself? By getting more customers, not by getting more investors.
And getting the right customers, right? And then also getting the customers that align with your mission. And all of those pieces are sort of I think what you're kind of talking about is sort of the role of your leadership, the leadership things you need to bring to the startup.
Yep.
Because you have to tame the lions. You can't let them tear each other apart, right? You have to keep the ship focused on your mission.
Yeah. I think the day-to-day stuff is like that, and it's not gonna be that, what do you call it? It's not gonna be rosy every day, it's people think like this is like I mean, like Shark Tank moment every day and stuff like that. No, man, it is very mundane.
Yeah.
It is very mundane, and you're gonna be dealing with a lot of people, and you have to be able to kind of like deal with a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Regardless if there's AI or not, you're still gonna need to deal with people.
Yeah, learn those people skills. So, let's before we wrap it up. I know that you're going out. You're raising right now. You're in the middle of a round.
We're in the middle of a round. We're raising 2 mil.
Okay.
We already raised 600K.
Okay.
And we're raising at 15 mil posts.
Okay.
And this is our seed round. We are planning to do our fundraise to get to us to another regions, by the way.
Okay.
As well as to expand our product lines so that we're actually more larger enterprise ready. Yeah, I call it larger enterprise ready. Basically, we want to make sure that we're building compliances, we're building certifications, we're building enough kind of like trust, kind of like what we call trust factors in our portfolio, basically company, in our what we call product line, so that we can handle bigger and bigger customers. I think like some of these sales kind of like hindrance that we found is revolve around that. So basically like being able to produce certifications, being able to produce compliances. These matters more and more in bigger company. Rather than the smaller. I'm not saying like I don't want to work with startups anymore. I'm still gonna help startups.
It makes a lot of sense. I know like there's some startups that I worked with who grew to a point where they were ready to work with the government or with universities or with large, and they absolutely got stopped dead in their tracks because of compliance, and they just didn't have everything ready, for that stuff. You got to watch the other podcast I had. I had an interview with Raymond Chang. Do you know Raymond Chang? Raymond's a local guy.
I'm familiar.
He's another local guy. You got to talk. He's a compliance guy. Startup, but.
And we're looking for partners. I think at the end of the day, we want to build solutions that revolves around our platform that can help other companies as well. And I don't want to build all those compliance solutions myself. I'm looking for people that wants to put this thing together with me, and I'm looking for kind of like companies that wants to kind of like help me do this. And this is for our fundraising, the 2 mil, and this is the. We will get us to, with this fundraising, we're looking to get us to $2 million ARR. And then we're going to raise our Series A at that point.
All right. Congratulations. What would an investor need to know? Like, let's say someone was just watching this and they were like, oh, that's interesting. Like, what else do you need to tell them so that they, know enough about Lyrid that they're like, I want to call this guy?
Okay. We're at 3 different regions. I did talk about that. We're at 3 different regions. We're at 720K bookings ARR at this moment. And we are about 23 enterprise customers. That is on average about $1,000 a month with us. And that can goes upward to like 5K per month. And these are at these 3 different regions. The largest regions that we have still in the US at the moment is the US. And we are working, as I mentioned, we want to try to build more on the larger enterprise. And we're looking for lead investors as well, people that can help us with our kind of like Series A. So anybody interested? Let me know.
What is
email
it?
me.
So we actually got to ask because I know investors have their own theses and they have their sweet spot, and they not only bring money but they bring connections and industries and enterprises and things like that. So what kind of an investor is the right kind of investor for you to be talking to? Because it's not just anybody who has money, right? Like you really truly want a good match.
Right. For me, the good match is investors that is actually have. Infrastructure background, I guess. The people that knows about this business a bit more, and people that also have that what do you call it? It can help us with our Series A. It can help us in I think what we lacked of right now is more like operational, kind of like finance, CFOs,
Yeah.
and all those things, and I think people that want to help us in that realm, bring us along. I am looking for another co-founder as well, which is I want a more sales focused co-founders, people that can help us sales, people that can help us build the operation, sales operation, rev ops, they call it.
Yep.
And I also be more global minded type of investors. I felt like some investors talk. I mean, there's nothing. Look, it's not right or wrong answer. Okay, I'm not trying to say they're doing it wrong or I'm the one doing it wrong.
Different thesis.
Yeah, different thesis. But some of these investors does want us to stay in the U.S.
Yeah.
Just keep the U.S. and just work on the U.S. But I felt like part of why I built the company is the global emerging market and the global play, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can take that away from this. Basically, that needs to work. Basically, for me to be able to show that this model works, that is the part of the big model that needs to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Handoyo, thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation. Loved the interview. Some of the takeaways for me are just really that focus on the customers, the passion for like people who you care about them enough that you really want to build a business around helping them.
Right.
You know. And I think that we can't lose sight of that. And good luck with your fundraising.
Thank you, Bash.
I'll keep my ears open for partners or people who I can bring to you who might help you out. But that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.